Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the Peak to Peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists.
What's the first thing you would grab if your home was on fire? We've all had the thought, and for mountain folks, that notion is closer to reality than most. Usually it's pets, family heirlooms, maybe an autographed photo from your favorite musician. You could call them prized possessions. For Max and Brie Rashbaum, it was seeds. The owners of Nederland's Spinning Silica, a pottery and glass blowing shop in town, lost their studio in the Caribou village fire last fall. Their house was just downwind, and early that morning, they found themselves evacuating their home while they watched their business go up in flames. Outside of being artists, the Rashbaums are also seasoned gardeners. They've been harvesting seeds adapted to growing in Ned's extreme conditions for years. Now, they're looking to share the fruits of their labor with the community. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast. I'm Tyler Hickman. Later on, we're going to tune in to a conversation I had with Max and Brie about an upcoming community seed swap they're hosting and why sharing seeds in your community is so important. One quick note. This episode does contain a bit of strong language. Before we get to that, here are this week's top stories. It's been more than a week since voters cast their ballots for Nederland's next mayor, and as of this recording, we still do not have official results. Last Wednesday, the town announced on its website that current Mayor Billy Giblin led contender and Mayor Pro Tem Nicole Sterling by 1 vote. Under state law, this margin would trigger a recount, but the town is still waiting on up to 31 ballots cast by military and overseas voters. The deadline to receive those ballots was Wednesday, April 15th. The town expects to have a new tally today, Thursday, April 16th. Any recount will have to be completed by April 22nd. Stay tuned for more updates on the election. In more local election drama, Black Hawk residents hit the polls for the first time in more than a decade to vote for local officials. The small mountain town, with a population of just 127 residents, has not had a contested election since 2014. 4 candidates ran for 3 open city council seats, each one carrying a 4-year term. A total of 46 votes were cast, electing incumbents Hal Midcap, Jim Johnson, and Renee Wiley. A 4th 2-year seat went uncontested and will continue to be held by current council member Cynthia Linker. Wiley and Linker were appointed to their seats last fall. They replaced council members Gregory Motes and Linda Armbright, who both died while in office, less than 1 month apart. Results are still preliminary and will not be finalized until military and overseas ballots are counted. Black Hawk plans to swear in the new council members during its Wednesday, April 22nd meeting. And those were our top headlines. Pick up this week's print edition or head to the mtnear.com to read these stories and so much more. Now, we're going to hear from Brie and Max. A few weeks back, I popped into their studio. Inside the shed on East 1st Street in Nederland.
Hi, are you Brie?
I am.
I'm Tyler.
Hi, Tyler.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. This is Max.
Nice to meet you.
They're still healing from the fire, but with their garden sprouting, it's getting easier, and they're ready to spread that energy to their neighbors.
No one wants to spend money on plants that don't come back the next year. Like, none of us want to be buying seeds that then don't come up. And I think that's what discourages so much. of people even starting is the setup cost. And so I'm trying to debunk that. That's why we want to do the seed swap, because you can literally go out to Mud Lake and collect wild seeds. There's tons of beautiful plants out there, and bring those and swap those for things that other people maybe harvested from their garden last year. And so people are
Just like us, plants have DNA. The seeds from a fruit, vegetable, or flower have the genetics of its parent plant encoded inside it. By saving seeds, that plant DNA, and replanting them the next season, you slowly help that plant adapt to the climate you're growing in.
People are going to get a lot more biodiversity, but I'm also hoping that we keep it so that genetics are strengthening every year. So by keeping our seeds up here, we're almost creating a little subculture of adaptation of seeds. And I want to be able to get the genetics established up here so that we are there.
The Rashbaums have been saving seeds for over a decade, and the land they work on has decades of experience itself. Max's parents moved into the home back in 1989 and have been working the garden ever since. Growing in Ned isn't easy. The altitude, soil, wind, weather, all the trials of living in the mountains make gardening up here tough. That's part of why they're saving seeds. But they've also had a little help from a hand-built greenhouse.
Outside is rough. I mean, it's a short season.
The greenhouse is a game changer for us because it elongates our season.
It feels like a tropical island.
The greenhouse, yeah.
If we have a sunny day in January and the snow melts off, we get 300 days of sunshine a year. We can get 90-degree days. Stuff wants to start growing. We have a grapevine in our greenhouse that's also 11 years old, but it's like the length of the hole. It's 25 feet long, and we get gallons and gallons of Concord grapes every year.
Max and Bree were planning on selling generations-old seeds out of their Caribou Village studio this season. But the fire last fall destroyed most of what they were hoping to sell. Pre-packaged seeds, along with nearly all of Brianna's pottery and Max's blown glass. When they woke up to an evacuation alert that morning, just a few hundred yards downwind from the fire, they knew what they had lost.
It's rewired our brain, the fire, to nothing is permanent. I knew that, we all die. I know that, but to feel the power of it, everything could be taken away in an instant. We lived down the street from the fire.
We were evacuated at 4 a.m.
Right, that's why we knew our shop burned down, is because we left our house to be evacuated, and it was we could see the flames.
From our bedroom window. So woke up from a slumber to an alert. I thought it was going to be an Amber Alert. And I read it, and you start reading it, you're like, Caribou Village, well shit, that's where our shop is. So I exit out of the Amber Alert, and I immediately go to our camera system, and our cameras aren't loading. And so we look out the window, and we could see the flames from our house. So then it's okay, we don't really care about what's happening at the shop right now. We just need to get our family out of here and safe.
We live downwind. And there's never been a windless day in Nederland.
But that was a windless day, thank goodness.
Our house should have burned. It's still crazy to me that we have a home and that our garden is still there.
Right.
So the fact that we can plant this year is a huge thing. When that fire happened, she grabbed our son. We got my dad. He grabbed
our seeds.
I got our seeds. That's my life's work.
That was what was important to Max. I was getting birth certificates and passports and the cat and the son and the father-in-law. He cared about seeds, so.
Nothing's permanent.
I'm so grateful for that. Grateful our house didn't burn down because all our home seeds were there.
But
and genetics that he's been spending, 16, 17 years working on.
Longer even. Yeah, it's been almost 2 decades with some of those seeds, which is I got love for the plants.
He stayed. Max didn't evacuate, so he actually stayed and he watered down our garden. So he was in the yard,
watering the roof of the house,
afraid of embers.
Pieces of ember, like paper size 8x11s, just floating through the air.
What's going through your head when you see that?
It's panic, It's more just what's do what you can, what's wet, what's dry, wet everything down. Are they safe? Where are they? It was. I don't want to say I'm good in a crisis, but I think we did okay.
We've been pivoting a lot.
Yeah.
We're just making it work.
But coming out of that, nothing is permanent. So be ready for it all to burn down.
Everyday reality looks different for Brianna and Max now. They've gone from a full storefront to selling pottery and glass and even some seeds out of a shed. But they haven't lost their message. On April 19th, they're inviting people to the shed to exchange seeds, an effort to increase biodiversity in the community and share the knowledge of generations of growers, a practice that used to be vital to our survival.
In the last 100 years, we have moved away from seed saving. Like, our ancestors knew to save the crops that fed your family, otherwise you didn't eat. Like, that, it was so essential to have the ancestral knowledge that now we just go to the grocery store. We don't even think about what does this look like when it's growing, or like what do the seeds look like. You know, we have a lot of GMO foods that they've removed the seeds from, and like bananas are supposed to have seeds, big black ones, you know, that you're supposed to eat around.
Watermelon too, like think of seedless watermelons, and so it's made it so that we don't even have access to seed saving. So it's a little bit of like a resilience. It's like a little bit of a fuck you to the man to be a seed saver.
I think that the enthusiasm alone is enough to get food on the table, but we're missing out on 95% of stuff that people have knowledge about. You know, there's.
Don't worry, it's open for beginners too. Come, listen, learn, and maybe take some seeds home with you and put that knowledge to the test. As for getting started, Max and Bree have some advice.
Pick 5, pick 10 things that you can focus on and get really familiar with, and grow those really well before you try to expand what you're growing.
Also, like, observing for 5 years. I know that sounds like an excessive thing, but like, just like waking up every day and seeing where the sun hits, and in the middle of the day where the sun hits, and in the evening where's the sun hit. Like, because it's going to be 3 big spots where they're totally different, and like those are 3. Then that'll tell you 3 styles of crops that you can plant right there.
The couple hopes to keep the seed swap going and rebuild their stock they lost in the fire, while they help rebuild their community too.
I mean, it really comes down to, I'm doing this because, one, I want more people to have access to it, but also because I want my own genetics to be strengthened.
Both will happen.
Both will happen, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah. I want to strengthen our community's seed structure and genetics one seed at a time through the community that we can offer in this 175 square foot space.
You can head to Spinning Silica at 55 East 1st Street this Sunday, April 19th, from noon to 3 p.m. to exchange your seeds with your neighbors. And if you're still a little bit green, they'll have plant starters for sale too, so you can kick off gardening season with a little help from the experts. That's all for today. Thanks again to Max and Bree for talking with me and for lending me a bit of gardening advice along the way. If you liked today's episode, please like, subscribe, and share it around, especially with your green-thumbed friends. It really goes a long way to help us grow. Once again, this is the Mountaineer Podcast, and I'm Tyler Hickman. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code PODCAST when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local Peak to Peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.